Audio Jungle.
Prince William has written the introduction to the book Earthshot: How to Save Our Planet, to be released on September 30th. This book, written by co-authored by Colin Butfield and John Hughes, will be a companion to the 10-year-long Earthshot Prize initiative, founded by the Duke of Cambridge. Its pages will highlight the urgency of the environmental challenges faced by the planet, showcase studies and feature contributions from the Awards Council members. Given William's commitment to environmental causes and long-term projects, royal author Duncan Larcombe believes William is now the royal family's star performer. The Duke, the commentator continued, is focusing on where he needs to be and where the royal family needs to be over the next 25 years. Mr. Larcombe said of the Earthshot book, "People should look at William's foreword as the manifesto of a future king. He's putting himself absolutely at the forefront of the environmental movement." Highlighting how William's project looks at the future, Mr. Larcombe added, "We've got a society now where Greta Thunberg and young people are calling for urgent action. When William becomes king, those young people will probably be around the age William is now, so the environment is a very useful cause for William to associate himself with." The Duke of Cambridge launched the Earthshot Prize in October last year. The project will see the Earthshot Prize Council award £1 million to 5 winners who have presented workable solutions to the world's greatest environmental challenges. The council includes people who have demonstrated a keen interest and commitment to the environment and its protection, such as the Queen of Jordan, actress Cate Blanchett, football player Dani Alves and naturalist Sir David Attenborough. Prince William will also sit in the council. Earlier this year, the Duke announced the first-ever Earthshot Prize Awards ceremony will take place in London on October 17. William comes from a prestigious line of royals interested in the environment and conservation. Prince Philip worked tirelessly for decades to help advance conservation and protecting nature. He passed on this interest to his firstborn Prince Charles, who for more than 50 years has been championing environmental causes. In the early 70s, he started voicing his concerns for plastic waste and air pollution at a time when these issues were not mainstream. Earlier this year, in a fresh bid to revert the climate crisis, he launched Terra Carta, a charter aiming to unite business leaders in the commitment to go green and make their companies sustainable. Last October, William spoke warmly about what he learned during the years from his father's efforts in favor of the environment. Appearing on BBC Radio 4, he was asked how he perceived Charles's comments on the environment. He replied, "I regularly wonder what my father's banging on about, and I'm sure every son thinks the same. But no, publicly, with my father's environmental credentials, he's talked about this for a long time and long before people cottoned on to climate change. So I've always listened to and learned and believed in what he's saying. But I know it's a very hard sell, 40 years ago, to predict and see some of the slow-moving catastrophes we're heading towards." Royal author Duncan Larcombe believes the Queen will be proud of Prince William, particularly because with his work on the environment he is following in Prince Philip's footsteps. The royal commentator told OK! Magazine, "Prince William is putting himself absolutely at the forefront of the environmental movement. The Queen will be very proud, especially as he's following in the footsteps of Prince Philip, who was the original environmentalist at a time when he was almost alone in his thinking." Prince Charles has continued that legacy for the past 20 years, building on his father's commitment to raising environmental awareness, and now Prince William is doing so as well. Last year, marking the 50th anniversary of his first landmark speech on the environment, recalled how his warnings had been received. He said, "I was considered rather dotty, to say the least, for even suggesting these things, rather like when I set up a reed bed sewage treatment system at Highgrove all those years ago, that was considered completely mad." As noted by Mr. Larcombe, both Prince Charles and Prince William were preceded by Prince Philip in their interest in nature and the environment. The late Duke of Edinburgh was widely considered a passionate environmentalist, particularly interested in conservation. Sir David Attenborough, a celebrated natural historian who also sits in the Earthshot Prize Council, praised the late Duke's interest in nature shortly after his passing. He said, "He was right there at the beginning at a time when conservation didn't mean much to many people. Even in the 60s and 70s, he saw it universally." Much like his grandfather, William has shown an interest in conservation for decades. In 2005, he became the patron of Tusk, which pioneers and promotes conservation initiatives across the African continent. Moreover, in 2020, he became the patron of 2 conservation charities, Fauna and Flora International and the British Trust of Ornithology, passed on to him by his grandmother and grandfather respectively. The work of these charities, Kensington Palace said at the time, aligns with Williams' long-standing work around conservation and support for communities protecting their natural environment for future generations.